The quickest way to lose your peace is to put the wrong things in the wrong hands. And sometimes it's not about what people take from you. It's about what you freely give away. Let's talk about the 5 things you should never share with anyone if you want to protect your peace, your relationships, and your future. Oversharing gives away your peace and power, and most people don't even realize it until it's too late. We live in a world that rewards constant exposure. Social media makes it easy to believe that if you don't share it, it didn't happen. From posting private struggles to updating every detail of our lives, we're encouraged to broadcast what should remain guarded. The danger in this habit is that the more you share, the more you allow others to influence, judge, and even control the parts of your life that should belong only to you. Peace is a fragile thing, and it's rooted in boundaries. When you speak on things that are deeply personal, you open the door for opinions, criticism, or worse, manipulation. People who do not genuinely care for your well-being may use what you reveal to fuel gossip, to exploit you, or to diminish your confidence. You may feel like you're simply being open, but in truth, you are giving away small pieces of your inner calm, little by little, until you are left with no safe space that belongs only to you. There's also the illusion of relief in oversharing. Many people believe that by telling others everything, they are unloading their stress, releasing their pain, or proving their authenticity. But what happens next is often disappointment. Not everyone listens with compassion. Not everyone receives your truth with care. Some people store it away, waiting for a moment of weakness when they can use your words against you. Suddenly, the release that felt comforting in the moment becomes a source of anxiety. You replay the conversation in your head, wondering if you said too much, if they'll tell someone else, or if you've now made yourself too vulnerable. The peace you were searching for by opening up becomes the very thing you lose. Power is also closely tied to what you keep to yourself. When you hold certain parts of your life privately, you maintain control over your story. You decide who deserves access and who doesn't. Oversharing removes that control. Imagine telling someone all your insecurities only to have them bring it up in an argument or a moment of tension. Imagine sharing your plans too early and watching someone dismiss them or even try to sabotage them. Your power lies in your discretion, in your ability to guard your energy and protect your direction. Without that, you're left open to influence from people who don't carry the same vision, responsibility, or love for your future as you do. Another danger of oversharing is that it can create unnecessary distance in relationships. While openness is valuable, it's not the same as spilling everything without boundaries. When you tell too much, too soon, you overwhelm people, leaving them unsure of how to handle you. It can make you appear unsteady, dependent, or careless with intimacy. Healthy relationships are built not on reckless transparency, but on trust that grows with time. Sharing little by little in the right spaces with the right people builds connection without sacrificing safety. Choosing not to overshare doesn't mean you're hiding, being fake, or untrustworthy. It means you're wise enough to understand that not everyone earns the right to access every part of you. Your peace is worth protecting. Your power is worth holding on to. Guarding your words is guarding your life. Sometimes silence is the strongest statement you can make. The truth is, not every detail of your life belongs in public, and not every ear deserves your story. Peace grows in privacy, and power is preserved in restraint. The less you give away recklessly, the more you keep for yourself, and that is where your strength truly lies. Not everyone is safe enough to hold your insecurities, and learning this truth early saves you from countless disappointments and unnecessary pain. Insecurities are fragile pieces of who you are. They come from experiences, wounds, and private battles that most people will never fully understand. Sharing them requires trust, and trust is not something that should be given freely to everyone who appears kind, available, or simply interested in your life. The mistake many people make is believing that openness equals intimacy. But the reality is, opening up to the wrong person doesn't bring closeness, it brings exposure. When you hand your insecurities to someone who isn't safe, you give them a tool they can use against you. Maybe not right away, maybe not in obvious ways, but sooner or later, those words may resurface in moments of conflict or comparison. A careless comment, a subtle dig, or even an outright attack can leave you regretting the trust you extended. Instead of finding comfort, you feel betrayed, and the damage is often deeper than the original insecurity itself. The wound now carries not just your struggle, but also the sting of broken trust. Safe people are rare, and they reveal themselves over time. They are the ones who handle your honesty with gentleness, who never repeat what was said in confidence, and who treat your weaknesses with respect rather than judgment. Unsafe people, however, show patterns gossiping about others, mocking vulnerability, dismissing feelings, or constantly centering themselves in every conversation. The way they treat others is often a preview of how they'll eventually treat you. This is why discernment is critical. Your insecurities are not for casual conversations, and they should never be placed in the hands of someone who hasn't proven their character. Another truth is that people are not always equipped to carry what you share. Sometimes it's not malice, but immaturity or lack of emotional depth that makes them unsafe. They may not know how to respond, so they minimize your feelings, rush you to move on, or twist your pain into advice that feels more like judgment. In those moments, you realize that while you expected comfort, what you received was misunderstanding. The disappointment lingers, and your insecurities feel even heavier than before. Holding back doesn't mean bottling everything inside forever. It means learning that vulnerability must be intentional, not reckless. The goal is not to build walls so high that no one can reach you, but to build gates that only allow in those who have earned your trust. True intimacy is not about how much you share, but about how wisely you choose where to place your heart. Some insecurities are meant to be worked through privately, in prayer, in reflection, or with professional help. Not everyone around you is capable of carrying what you carry, and that's not a reflection of your worth, but of their capacity. The safest people are those who listen without agenda, encourage without belittling, and love without using your weaknesses as leverage. Those are the ones who prove that your honesty is a gift and not a weapon for them to use. Strength in protecting your insecurities lies in knowing that privacy can be healing. Every time you choose silence over spilling to the wrong person, you guard your peace. Every time you reserve your trust for someone worthy, you build deeper respect for yourself. It's not about fear. It's about wisdom. Not everyone is meant to hold the most delicate parts of you. Some people are only passing through your life, and giving them access to your deepest wounds only ensures they'll leave fingerprints where scars are still forming. At the end of the day, your insecurities deserve safe hands, and those hands will never be careless, manipulative, or judgmental. They'll hold your truth with care, honor your courage, and remind you that vulnerability is sacred. Until you find those people, let your silence protect you and let your discernment guide you. Because not everyone is safe enough to hold your insecurities, but the right ones will never make you regret that you trusted them. Money details can change how people treat you, and often in ways you don't expect. When you let others know too much about your financial life, you invite opinions, assumptions, and even hidden motives into your relationships. If people hear you're doing well, some will celebrate you, but others may quietly compare, envy, or even feel entitled to a piece of what you have. If they hear you're struggling, instead of compassion, some may look down on you, lose respect, or treat you as less capable. Either way, revealing too much about your finances gives people a lens through which they judge you, and it rarely works in your favor. Money is powerful not just because of what it buys, but because of what it represents. To some, it means security. To others, it signals status or success. And to many, it becomes a silent scoreboard. That's why when you talk openly about your income, savings, or investments, you risk shifting the way people perceive you. What was once a friendship built on trust may suddenly feel like a competition. What felt like genuine interest can turn into quiet resentment. People may stop seeing you and start seeing only what you have or don't have. There's also the danger of creating unhealthy expectations. When someone knows your financial situation, they may begin to measure their requests, favors, or judgments through that knowledge. If they think you're well off, they may expect you to cover the bill, lend money, or constantly be available to help. Refusing, even when it's reasonable, may paint you as selfish in their eyes. On the other hand, if they believe you're struggling, they may limit opportunities for you, exclude you from certain activities, or treat you as incapable of managing responsibilities. In both scenarios, your worth is reduced to numbers rather than character. Keeping your money details private also protects you from unnecessary comparisons. The truth is, someone will always have more, and someone will always have less. When you open the door to those conversations, you invite comparisons that breed insecurity, either in you or in them. Instead of focusing on building healthy relationships or achieving your own goals, the dynamic becomes tainted by who earns what, who spends how much, and who appears more successful. That kind of environment rarely nurtures genuine connection. It nurtures silent competition. It's also worth noting that financial information can be misused. People who know too much about what you have may try to manipulate or take advantage of you. They may see your generosity as an open door to repeatedly ask for help, or they may treat your life as a resource rather than a relationship. Others may gossip about your lifestyle, misinterpret your choices, or share private details with people who have no business knowing them. Once that information spreads, it's almost impossible to take back. The truth is, your finances are one of the most personal parts of your life. They represent your hard work, your sacrifices, your values, and your future plans. Not everyone deserves to have a say in them. Being private with money doesn't mean being secretive out of shame. It means being wise enough to protect yourself from unnecessary pressure, judgment, or exploitation. It's about maintaining control over how you are treated, not letting others write your narrative based on what's in your bank account. At the end of the day, you don't owe anyone a breakdown of your income or spending. What you choose to earn, save, or invest is your decision, not a public discussion. The people who truly value you won't need to know numbers to respect you. They will measure you by your integrity, your character, and your presence, not your paycheck. Guard your money details closely, because once they're out, can't control how they shape the way people see you. Protect your peace, and remember that your worth is never defined by the size of your wallet. Early exposure of plans invites doubt and sabotage, and it's one of the most overlooked reasons why many dreams never make it to reality. When you share your vision too soon, put something fragile in the hands of people who may not nurture it the way you do. A new idea is like a seed. It needs the right soil, the right protection, and time to grow roots before it can withstand outside forces. If you expose it too early, it can easily be crushed by doubt, negativity, or envy before it ever has a chance to bloom. The danger of sharing plans too quickly is that most people respond from their own limitations, not yours. You may tell someone about a dream that excites you only to hear them say, "That sounds unrealistic," or "I don't think you can pull that off." Their words may not come from malice, but from their own fears, insecurities, or failures. But once they've spoken, the seed of doubt is planted in your mind. What once felt possible begins to feel uncertain, and you start questioning yourself, not because you aren't capable, but because you let someone else's limited vision blur your own. Beyond doubt, there's also the risk of sabotage. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people are silently competing with you, and others are threatened by your ambition. When you reveal your plans before they're strong enough to stand on their own, you give those people a chance to interfere, copy, or block opportunities. It's not always obvious sabotage. Sometimes it's subtle, discouraging you just enough to make you hesitate, delaying you just long enough to make you miss your moment. By the time you realize it, the momentum you once had is gone. There's also the psychological effect of oversharing plans. Studies show that when you talk too much about what you intend to do, your brain experiences a sense of false accomplishment. You feel rewarded for speaking the plan, even though you haven't actually done the work. This reduces your drive because your mind tricks you into believing you've already achieved something just by announcing it. Talking replaces action, and your plans stall before they ever take off. Keeping your vision private protects both your energy and your direction. Silence is a form of power. It allows you to build in peace, to work without interference, and to let your results speak louder than your intentions ever could. When your plans are hidden, they're safe from premature judgment. No one can water them down with their opinions. No one can compete with something they don't know exists, and no one can stop what they can't see. That doesn't mean you should never share your plans. It means you should be selective. Share only with people who are invested in your growth, people who have proven themselves trustworthy, and people who can genuinely help you move forward. Those voices matter. They sharpen you instead of dulling you. But casual acquaintances, jealous peers, or negative thinkers should never be given the privilege of influencing your future. At its core, protecting your plans is about respecting yourself enough to know that not everyone deserves access to your vision. Your dreams are too valuable to be tested in the court of public opinion before they're ready. The same volume. The world doesn't need to hear what you're about to do. It needs to see the results when the work is complete. So the next time you feel tempted to announce every step you're planning, pause. Ask yourself, is this plan strong enough to withstand criticism, envy, or interference? If not, keep it close, guard it, and let it grow in silence. Because early exposure of plans doesn't build confidence. It invites doubt and sabotage. Protect your vision until it's ready to speak for itself. Good deeds lose value when used for validation, because the moment kindness becomes a performance, it stops being genuine. At its core, a good deed is meant to come from love, compassion, and sincerity. It is supposed to be an extension of your character, a reflection of your values, and something you do because it is right, not because it will be seen. But in a culture that constantly rewards visibility, many people have begun to confuse kindness with an opportunity to be praised. They record their generosity, announce their charity, and measure the worth of their good works not by the impact it has on others, but by the applause it brings back to them. When that happens, the purity of the act is stripped away, and what remains is ego disguised as goodness. The true power of kindness lies in its quietness. Real generosity doesn't need an audience. When you help someone without telling the world, the act becomes sacred. It's just between you, them, and the truth of your intentions. It's often in those hidden moments when no one else sees that kindness is the most powerful. The person you help may never be able to repay you, and no one else may even know it happened. But the impact is real, and it lasts far longer than the temporary rush of validation. On the other hand, when good deeds are done for recognition, they lose their weight. People may clap for you, praise you, or call you noble, but deep down you know the act wasn't truly about giving. It was about being noticed. That kind of validation is shallow and temporary. It creates a cycle where you feel compelled to do more, not because you want to, but because you need the next round of approval. The deed becomes less about love and more about performance, and slowly the meaning behind your kindness fades. There's also a subtle danger in seeking validation for your good deeds. It can shift the focus away from the person you're helping and place it on yourself. Instead of centering their needs, their dignity, and their story, the act becomes a stage for you to shine. The one who was supposed to feel uplifted may instead feel used like a prop in your quest for recognition. True kindness uplifts others without making them feel like they owe you praise in return. When good deeds are hidden, they also protect your character. No one can question your motives when you don't announce them, because the only reason you acted was for the sake of goodness itself. Silence becomes proof that you weren't searching for applause, you were living by your values. And often, the most trustworthy people are those who quietly serve without the need for recognition, because they show that kindness for them is not an act, but a way of being. That doesn't mean acknowledgement is always wrong. Sometimes good deeds inspire others to do the same, and sometimes gratitude naturally follows. But the line is crossed when the motivation shifts from compassion to attention. The question you should always ask yourself is this: value. Would I still do this if no one ever knew? If the answer is yes, then your deed holds its true value. If the answer is no, then it's not kindness, it's performance. At the end of the day, the greatest measure of goodness is not how loudly it is spoken of, but how deeply it is felt by those who receive it. Real kindness doesn't echo through applause. It lingers in the quiet changes it creates in people's lives. Good deeds lose their value when used for validation, but they become priceless when done in silence, with love as the only motive. The reward of kindness is not in the recognition it brings, but in the difference it makes. Sharing other people's secrets destroys trust, and once that trust is broken, it is almost impossible to fully repair. When someone confides in you, they are handing over a fragile piece of themselves. It might be a story they've never told anyone, a pain they've been carrying alone, or a private detail they're scared to expose. In that moment, they're saying, I believe you're safe. I believe you'll guard this the way I would. To betray that belief by repeating what was meant just a stay private isn't just a slip of the tongue, it's a violation of integrity. Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in any relationship, whether it's a friendship, a family bond, or a partnership. It's what makes people feel secure enough to be vulnerable, to share their fears, and to build intimacy. When you share a secret that isn't yours to tell, you show that your word can't be trusted, and the person who once felt safe with you begins to pull back, guarding themselves, doubting your loyalty, and questioning whether you ever valued them in the first place. One careless conversation can undo years of trust that took so long to build. What makes this betrayal even more damaging is that it usually doesn't stop with one person. Secrets rarely stay contained when they fall into the wrong hands. Once spoken, they ripple outward, moving from one mouth to another, often growing distorted along the way. By the time it circles back, the person who trusted you isn't just hurt, they're humiliated. They now have to deal not only with their pain being exposed, but also with the knowledge that the one they confided in was the very person who allowed it to happen. People sometimes justify sharing secrets by saying, I only told one person, or it wasn't that serious. But those excuses don't erase the fact that trust was broken. What may feel small to you could mean everything to the person who trusted you. For them, that secret may represent a moment of deep vulnerability, something they were terrified to share, and you turned it into casual conversation. That's not harmless. That's betrayal. Guarding other people's secrets is also a reflection of your own character. If you can't be trusted with what doesn't belong to you, people will eventually assume they can't trust you with what does. The habit of gossiping or revealing private matters doesn't just hurt the person you expose, it damages your own reputation. Others watch how you handle what isn't yours, and they silently decide whether you're safe enough to trust. When you prove careless, doors close, opportunities shrink, and relationships grow shallow because people know you're not someone they can confide in. On the other hand, protecting secrets builds a foundation of respect. When someone sees that their words stay with you, no matter how tempting it might be to share them, their trust in you deepens. They feel safe, and that safety becomes the soil where stronger, more meaningful relationships grow. People gravitate toward those who are trustworthy because in a world full of noise, they crave the rare peace of knowing their heart is safe in someone else's hands. It's also important to remember that keeping a secret isn't just about loyalty to another person. It's about discipline within yourself. It's choosing integrity over attention and respect over impulse. It's saying, your story is yours, not mine, and I will honor that. That kind of restraint takes strength, but it also sets you apart. Not everyone has the maturity to stay silent, but those who do earn a kind of respect that lasts a lifetime. At the end of the day, secrets are not just words, they're pieces of someone's soul. Share them carelessly is to break something that may never heal. To protect them is to prove that your word, your loyalty, and your integrity can be trusted. Sharing other people's secrets destroys trust, but keeping them safe builds it, strengthens it, and cements bonds that can withstand anything. Privacy builds confidence and protects your boundaries, and in a world where oversharing feels almost expected, it has become one of the strongest forms of self-respect. When you choose to keep certain parts of your life private, you aren't hiding, you're protecting. You're saying that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your personal experiences. That choice doesn't make you secretive, it makes you wise, because privacy gives you control over your own story. The less people know, the less they can manipulate, judge, or interfere with the parts of your life that matter most. Confidence grows when you realize you don't need validation for every step you take. People often overshare because they crave reassurance. They want others to approve their choices, to celebrate their plans, or to affirm their worth. But true confidence is built when you stop seeking that approval and start trusting your own decisions. Privacy strengthens that muscle. When you achieve something without announcing it beforehand, the victory feels more real. It's yours, not shaped by anyone else's opinion. Over time, you begin to rely less on outside voices and more on your own conviction, and that is where unshakable confidence is born. Boundaries are also reinforced by privacy. The moment you make every part of your life public, you give people permission to comment, criticize, or cross lines. But when you hold back, when you choose carefully what to share and what to keep for yourself, you set a clear message: my life is mine, and I decide what part you see. That boundary protects your energy. It keeps you from being drained by constant opinions, and it gives you the freedom to live without performing for an audience. Privacy also shields your peace. Not everyone you know wishes you well. Some people are silently competing, some are secretly envious, and others simply don't understand your vision. When you reveal too much, you expose yourself to doubts, negativity, or sabotage that you didn't need in the first place. But when you stay private, you build in silence. You grow in peace. You let your results speak louder than your words ever could. And when the results come, no one can deny them because the work was done quietly, away from distractions. There's also dignity in privacy. It shows that you value yourself enough not to hand out your heart, your struggles, or your plans to just anyone. It tells people that access to you is earned, not assumed. That dignity creates respect. People may be curious, but they also understand that you have standards for what you reveal and who you reveal it to. Instead of scattering yourself in every direction, keep the most important parts of you guarded. And that makes you stronger. Living with privacy doesn't mean living in isolation. It means choosing wisely. Still share your heart, but only with people who have proven they can handle it. You still open up, but only in spaces that are safe. You still live boldly, but you don't live for the spotlight. Privacy gives you balance, the ability to connect without overexposing, be transparent without being vulnerable to the wrong people, to be seen without being consumed. At the end of the day, privacy is not about hiding, it's about holding power. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you don't owe anyone your every detail, and that your life is not a stage for constant performance. It is the boundary that keeps your peace intact and your strength protected. And in a noisy world where everyone is shouting their business, privacy is the rare silence that makes you powerful. Privacy builds confidence and protects your boundaries, because what people don't know, they can't use, and what you keep for yourself becomes the source of your greatest strength. Protecting these 5 areas safeguards your relationships and your future, because the truth is, not everyone around you has the capacity, the maturity, or the heart to handle every part of who you are. The more carelessly you give away the most delicate parts of your life, the more room you leave for people to misuse them. Boundaries are not about being cold or distant. They are about understanding the value of what you carry. When you guard your insecurities, your money details, your long-term plans, your good deeds, and other people's secrets, you are protecting the very foundation of trust, respect, and peace that every healthy relationship needs. When you keep your insecurities safe, you protect yourself from unnecessary harm. Not everyone is gentle enough to carry the weight of your fears without using them as weapons later. By being careful with who you open up to, You maintain dignity in your relationships. The people who truly care for you will prove themselves worthy of that trust, and those who don't will never be given the chance to turn your vulnerabilities against you. That single choice alone saves you from betrayal that could scar you for years. Guarding your financial life is another shield. Money has the power to twist perceptions faster than almost anything else. If people know too much, they begin to measure their expectations of you against it. Some may envy you, some may feel entitled, and some may look down on you if you're not where they think you should be. By keeping your money private, strip away those false lenses and force people to value you for your character, not your wallet. That protects both your peace and your relationships from being reduced to transactions.